is it 10%? And Draft2Digital has an agreement there. I'm not 100% sure, but that's something to look into and think. And I think that's probably
the pros and cons to using the platform. And let's see. Yeah, thoughts in general. I can think of a couple, and I'll chime in on top of anything that you have.
Yeah, I think the biggest con, honestly, is thinking about, hey, 10%. Do I want to? Is it worth my time to go on each of these individual platforms and have an account and have everything set up there to avoid that 10%? Right. Now, it's a good question thinking, Rob. I don't want to say that I'm, and then maybe that you can tell me a little bit about this, but I'm not 100% sure that it's 10% on top of whatever like 10% on top of what Apple royalties will be. I don't know if I'm overcomplicating that in my mind, but that's something to maybe look into. Is it 10%? And Draft2Digital has an agreement there. I'm not 100% sure, but that's something to look into and think. And I think that's probably, as far as cons go, I think that's the biggest one. Pros, mostly it's saving you time, and that's great. And I think anyone out there values time, and it can just be an all in one place. You don't have to, it's just a lot to manage if you think about having all those things in different places, different payments, different logins. I can go in one place and see my stats and not have to go and shoot to a bunch of different places. So yeah, I can think of a few more, but I think those are just the ones off the top of my head.
Yeah, my understanding is that the way this works is it's going to be 10% from your net proceeds. So whatever amount that ends up being, depending on the individual platform. So if you're ordinarily going to get 35%, they're going to get 10% of that. So about 3.5% of what the sales price generally would be. But yes, in terms of cons, that's the primary one. If you do have more, I've talked about this before in other contexts, if you have more time and energy than funds to invest in your self-publishing journey, and you're willing to put in that sweat equity and learn all sorts of different things, whether it's formatting or design or so forth, then it just makes sense to go and establish these individual accounts here. Maybe it's going to take you an hour, several hours a day, perhaps, if there's something very complicated about Kobo or whomever. But it is money out of your account that you're paying for. So there is that simplicity. I would say on the pro side, again, it is going to offer that time saving, and you may end up, hey, it's not worth it for me to spend a couple of hours setting up an account in each of these different platforms, but maybe you get a sale, maybe you get a handful of sales, and if you can do that in exchange for just a small portion of proceeds that you otherwise wouldn't have got any of, then maybe that feels like a good option. Another big pro that we'll talk about a little bit later is when you're looking at perma-free books. Draft2Digital does allow you to make your books available at $0 and push it out to some of these other platforms. And then you can make the book in turn available on Amazon, also at $0, offered as a perma-free or permanently free option. So we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment here.